Welcome in, everybody. Nice to have you aboard on a wonderful Wednesday. I got to start with thanking you, Stephen A. Smith. You produced a groundswell of support and pride from Memphians about their city. I'm not sure I've seen that in 20, 25 years. People caring about this city, defending this city, the mayor providing numbers that's showing that violent crime is clearly down the last couple of years, people talking about what is good about this city. It's the first time in a while. And Stephen A., if you're right about all this fear, now we thank you for that because you've given us the impetus to make sure that we get better. It's amazing to me. I think today, because I didn't hear it, but Greg Gasson just said he called it a terrible city or something of that nature. I think we all know that's not true, and I think we all know we got problems. And to deny it or to say that it hasn't affected teams like the Grizzlies or Tigers in recruiting, that would just be false. It has. I know behind the scenes I've heard that coaches have had to combat that. They have different ways to talk about how they keep athletes safe. And I know that when you get a superstar like Josh saying, I'm here, I like it here, that goes a long way. And other people saying, I like it here. I know I like it here. I've had plenty of chances to move on, and I didn't. And I came back when I did move on. This is a very good city. We have problems, yes. And Stephen A., if you've just provided with us with a new pride, I'm going to thank you completely for all of that. Last night, first tour stop by the U of M athletic department. It was at the Owner's Box, which, by the way, this is not a commercial for them. But I've been there. I really love that place. I think that is such a cool place. The food is excellent, very pricey, but very good. And the space is great. And Memphis had its first stop there. And I don't know how much we learned last night. I don't think it was a whole lot. But you had, for the first time together that I can remember in a long time, you had the basketball coach and the football coach together, Penny and Ryan, and you had the athletic director, Dr. Ed Scott, who spoke. The only thing he said last night that was of major interest was a update on the financial status of the redo of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So they need 221. They're at 206. So $15 million away. I think that's progress. It's not supposed to be done till the end of this, beginning really of the 27 football season. Let me say 26 football season. This will be 25 this year. So you've still got plenty of time. And to raise $15 million when you're this close, I suspect will be easily accomplished. I know he last night had a great deal of confidence that all of that would come out. If you're looking, actually it's 201 of 226, so he needs basically $25 million, so let me clarify that. And that's about halfway to what the university itself was responsible for, because you got 120 from the city, and you got 50 from Fred Smith, so now you need 50 on your own, and you've gotten half of that 25, so you're halfway there in terms of the responsibility from the school. Penny said, and this is interesting, he's not going to use all 15 scholarships that he can now have. Remember, you are going from 13 to 15, which is what it used to be when I first started watching college athletics. So they're up to 15. He is at 12 at the moment. So he's saving a scholarship, or at least this is what I get from it. He is saving a scholarship for Dane Danger if he were to get Danger, and who knows what the odds on that are, and who knows the timetable because it's up to the whim of the NCAA. But he's saving one for Danger, and I think he's saving one if he doesn't get Danger. He must have, although he hasn't spelled it out, and why should he has to have an alternative plan because it's 50-50 at best that you're going to get Danger. So what are you going to do? You're going to go overseas? Maybe. Are you going to figure out something out there that's a gem that you're keeping hushed, that in case you don't get danger, you're going to go to. There's got to be a plan, but that's what the 13th scholarship will be used for. And I know that Ryan was one of those that came to the defense of the city, talking about how he is now raising 2 daughters here. He had his first Father's Day. Congratulations, Ryan, on that. But he talked about being here for 10 years and loving it and not feeling insecure or unsafe here. So, again, a nice night at the owner's box and some small tidbits of information. We'll know more. On Friday, Dr. Scott is supposed to have a press conference. I suspect at that time he will reveal the numbers that the U of M will share with athletes. And I don't know if he'll give us the formula, but here's my prediction. The formula for the Power 4 schools, because it's a recommendation from the NCAA based on revenue streams. 75% of the revenue share should go to football, 15% men's basketball, 5% women's basketball, 5% all other sports. My prediction is it's not going to be all 20.5 million that you can cap it at. I don't know what the percentage of that 20.5 million will be that Memphis will use, but my prediction is it will not be that model because Dr. Scott has said he is a girl daddy and that women deserve their fair share. So I suspect the revenue share will be, I don't know if it'll be 50%, which a lot of the Title IX people would tell you it should be, but it will be better than what we're talking about, 5% for women's basketball. And, you know, he's got a great women's soccer program that's been the Cadillac of this school forever. It's the most successful program in the history of the school, despite the fact that I don't believe it brings in any revenue, but it is on the field, off the field, the most successful of all the programs. So we shall see. That'll be interesting. That press conference will be on Friday. Next Tuesday, Penny will speak. And I don't know exactly what more he will share, but it could be a little bit more specific. And he'll start probably talking about roles of players and all of those things. So 2 big events coming up for the U of M that are basically for the press, and that means for all of you to digest at another date here, which would be how Memphis is going to share revenue and where the Tigers basketball plans are. By the way, one last thing before all chaos breaks loose here with Dennis Philippi. Canada's going to have to wait another year. They have not won a cup since '93. 32 years have passed since the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. And for the back-to-back years, the Panthers dismissed the Canadian entry, the Edmonton Oilers. This was a dominating performance, although they were outshot. But I still don't understand why. Like, there was 8 minutes left to go in the game. It was 3-0, and they pulled the goalie, and that was disastrous. A minute later, it was 5-0. 5-1. Florida dominates 2 consecutive Stanley Cup championships. As we sit here in the Family Leisure studio, it is still pool time, where you can still get those 24-foot pools starting at under $2,000, liners at under $300. And then all pools, if you want accessories, chemicals, those kinds of things, 20% off, 50% off on all the patio furniture that would go around your pool. You got to get there. It's still going on. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Speaking of time, time has changed.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning, Mr. Dennis. How are you?
I'm great, and I want to get on board with you on the Memphis thing. I was supposed to be in Memphis for 2 days in February of 1985, and I met my wife. And this Sunday we celebrate our 39th wedding anniversary.
Wow!
I've been in Memphis for 40 years. I've been in Memphis my entire adult life. I consider myself a Memphian. I grew up in North Carolina, but I consider myself a Memphian. We live in beautiful Cooper Young. We love this city. We love Cooper Young. We love Midtown. We love Memphis. We have never even considered moving anywhere else in the last 40 years. This is a great city, and I love living here, and I love this city.
Now, this never happens. This discussion would not occur had Stephen A. Smith not made his statements. And honestly...
Well, I would have plugged my anniversary anyway. I already had it in my notes.
Oh, that's what this was all about.
Yeah.
You were plugging 39 years
I got to acknowledge
with
that
your gorgeous wife.
happily married for 39 years.
Yeah.
You were so right last week going into the U.S. Open about how much fun it was going to be. And I heard people on Sports Talk say that they hated watching the U.S. Open. I loved it. It was so much fun because the players were having such a terrible time. They got to the point where they were laughing about how badly they were doing because the first 2 days, any long putt they tried, they realized that they were eventually realized they were going to have to take the gas off of it because if they didn't sink it, it was going to roll 40 feet. And it was so much fun to watch those guys in rough up to their knees. But you absolutely called it.
And we got a new term. I mean, and the players learn to live with the failure like we do as just regular golfers. But they called themselves, they said when something happened, they go, I got U.S. Opened. You know? Right. I mean, how are you going to hit a clean shot with a bad lie in 5.5-inch deep rough? Yeah. You're not. You're going to screw up. I love it. Throwing clubs, hitting tee boxes. It was come
great.
on.
I loved it.
It was like going to a muni.
And Spawn, Spawn pocketing $4.3 million, winning his first major, because somebody had to win. Eventually, somebody was going to be the last man standing, but it was really fun. The course was so punishing, and I really, really enjoyed it. You called it last week, saying that it was going to be fun. And it was.
I certainly didn't call J.J. Spawn. I will tell you
No,
but I love that story, don't you?
It's a great story.
Yeah.
A fantastic story. Penny, you mentioning Penny, planning on using one more scholarship, maybe for Dane. I don't think Dane's going to get the judgments are not going to go his way. But Penny's not hiding a 7-footer somewhere. There isn't a 7-footer laying around anywhere. And both our teams, the Grizzlies and the Tigers, are a little thin at the 5.
You know, you don't need a 7-footer. You already got one that's 7'1".
Yeah, but he can't play.
Well, we don't know that he can't play. I mean,
is he somebody that anybody's talking about? No.
Let me just take you back 365 days. I don't know if this was you who said this, but Dane Danger had played at Baylor. He'd played at Illinois. He couldn't play. And then he became all-conference, and then he's getting workout from NBA teams if he doesn't get the year of eligibility. Right. So just be careful. Hey, Bradshaw was a 5-star guy. Here's what I don't like is he would rather shoot threes than be underneath. Yeah. But Penny and Mike Davis, they developed Danger. Maybe they can develop Bradshaw, but here is what you do need. You need a guy who's 6'9" at least that can rebound. That we know is a need.
Well, like I said, both teams are a little thin at the 5. The Desmond Bain trade, when the national media's reaction is, hey, Orlando just got a whole lot better, sort of gives the impression that maybe we didn't win the trade.
See, I honestly, and I'm not trying to be a homer here, I think it's the exact opposite. And I think most of the national people have been going, they paid that much for Bain with that contract? If you looked at the big 3, and you would have said Bain was the 3rd option, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That guy's got a contract that's in the 40s. The last year is 45. That was the contract I didn't think you could get rid of. You got rid of that contract, giving you that much flexibility, and all of those picks, plus KPC and Anthony Cole, which I don't think he'll ever play here.
No.
But
no, Cole is a piece.
Right.
He is a piece to be moved.
But I'm just saying, you got that much, I think Memphis wins the trade.
I don't think Contavious is really going to be that much of an impact player. He is.
His numbers were coming down. But
he's 32.
32
he's fallen off in the last couple of years.
People are trying to get Durant, who's going to be 38.
I don't want Durant. I don't.
You just think he's dull.
I do think he's dull. But Contavious is getting old. They obviously have to get a big. When we're down to Ham, we're out of bigs. So Huff. We got to get him. I don't know where it came from.
I'm trying to work.
Huff.
I was thinking maybe you were
They're going to have to move.
Making that like a food product.
No,
or something.
they've got to get it big. I was stunned that the Dodgers let Shohei Ohtani pitch. I didn't think they were ever going to let him pitch.
Why?
Because his bat's too valuable. It's very easy to get hurt pitching, and they need his bat. They need his offense.
Guess what? Shohei wants to pitch.
Yeah, and Shohei did pitch and pitched very well on the same day his interpreter reported to federal prison.
You got a new interpreter, by the way.
And there's this is the kind of thing that drives me crazy. There's so much cynicism in sports reporting, that I've heard people speculate, and not crazy about speculation, but heard people speculate that the interpreter was taking the fall for Ohtani, that Ohtani was the one doing the gambling, and his interpreter took the fall. That is so stupid and so cynical. The FBI investigated this.
Absolutely.
I mean, this guy is...
Well, first of all, not only was he gambling, but he was stealing Ohtani's money.
Yeah. Well, so he is widely expected to be deported. Also, watching the College World Series, how do you feel about this green base thing, the safety base at first?
I've been watching, and I don't necessarily know what you're referring to be honest.
Right beside first base, there's a green base. It is a safety base. That is the base that the runner is going to in order to avoid collisions and injury. Stop monkeying with baseball.
Has it been used?
Yeah, it's this year. This is
No. But has anybody actually?
Yeah, everybody's using it.
Everybody has hit that base.
Yeah, everybody's using the green base, and it's just stop messing with baseball.
How did I not know this?
I don't know.
You know how many innings I've watched of this stuff? I've watched a bunch.
It's right there, the green base, right beside first base. It's the safety base. I've stopped changing baseball. You know, I hate the designated hitter. So
I'm not a big DH fan either, but I do like the pitch clock. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah, well, speeding it up is fine, but just don't stop monkeying with the fundamentals of baseball. The NBA Finals have been fun. They're over, obviously, because with Halliburton hurt, the Pacers have no chance.
I tend to agree with you there.
But of course, you know, because it's such small markets, and because nobody really cares that much about this team. Really, all anybody's talking about is where Durant and Giannis are going to land, which we were talking off the air with Parth about would we want Durant? I don't want Durant. Durant's old and boring.
No, I'd take Giannis.
Take all the picks, take Cole, and I don't know, throw in a couple of other guys. I would love to have Giannis. And if he just visited, he would realize what a great city this is, and he might be interested in playing here.
Do you think, honestly... and I've talked about it, I think Kleiman pulled off one here. I think he did a great job of getting rid of a huge contract. And we all know the Grizzlies were not going to win the title with that group. So this gives you flexibility and it gives you hope. But do you think that next big deal is that big a deal where you land a big free agent name like a Durant or a Giannis with Cole and picks? I'm not sure that's the next chess piece.
I'm not the only
I'd
one
be for it.
who said there's still a very, very realistic chance that they will trade Ja. That is a very realistic possibility. This is one of my favorite stories of the week. The Yomiuri Giants of Tokyo, baseball team in Tokyo, they thought it'd be a swell idea to have people share for Father's Day their memories of their father and baseball. So their promotion. They had a middle-aged guy watching a baseball game, eating a bowl of popcorn. Said the Giants determined what kind of a mood my dad is in. That was their that's right. It. So they had people send in their thoughts on this. Here are some of the quotes. All of my memories about my dad and the Giants are terrible ones. So if the Giants didn't exist, that my dad would have had fewer reasons to get into a bad mood. That tweet describes my dad perfectly. If they lost, he'd find some tiny excuse to kick me. That's why I lost all interest in baseball. It was the worst if they were playing a night game. My dad would monopolize the TV, then he'd fall asleep in the middle of the game. When I changed the channel, he'd suddenly wake up and go berserk, yelling I was watching that. I hate baseball. Not an effective promotion for the Yomiuri Giants.
Everything was negative?
And those were all different quotes. That's not one person saying that. It was just a litany of all these quotes of my dad was a miserable beast when he watched the Giants play.
You made my gone wrong.
You made my childhood a living nightmare. Thanks, Yomiuri.
God.
People are a little concerned about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I am going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, who has been sporting a wedding ring lately, and
But we don't know who.
nobody's
who
ever
he
seen
met.
this woman.
It's incredible.
I think it's his Canadian girlfriend. He's got an imaginary wife.
No, she's got a first name. It's like Brittany or something.
It is Brittany, Brittani.
Right.
That sounds made up.
So
to me.
somebody knows.
I don't know.
Who it is.
Well, no, we know he doesn't have a relationship with his family, but his friends have never met this woman either. He also is bitching about the fact that he can't wear his old helmet. He has to wear one of the new modern helmets. He can't wear the helmet that he was wearing with the Jets. With the size of his head, I'm surprised he can fit it in any helmet.
Well, explain to me why he can't go to that model. I mean,
He just
it's
doesn't
not
want
a
to.
league rule.
Because he's old and stuff. No, it is mandated that he has
it's
to.
a league rule that what is this, a new safety?
Everybody's trying to fight
feature in the
CTE,
helmet?
and they I think his eggs are already scrambled.
So
but-
they're trying to save him.
Yeah. In the middle of the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and the U.S. Open, ESPN devoted 10 minutes to talking about Dak Prescott's legacy. What?
You could really
what legacy?
Couldn't you fill that with 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's it. Here, let's talk about Dak Prescott's legacy. He doesn't have one. Moving on. Why do we? I'm sorry. I know Dacus is standing over there and he's a Cowboys fan, but
But he has to agree with you.
And Dak's been their quarterback for half of his life, and they haven't done anything.
That's true.
No, it's just a disaster. And Rafael Devers, of course, who is a Tool, refused to play first base for the Red Sox, so they traded him to the Giants. And this weekend, it looks like he's going to be playing first base against the Red Sox.
No, here's what he said. This is better. Because he pouted because they got a good third baseman in Bregman,
Right.
And
he's not a good third
and they love his bat,
Yeah.
And so they said be a DH, and that really made him mad. So the first baseman gets hurt, and he goes, "No, I'm not playing that. You made me a DH." Pouting.
Oh, yeah.
Now he goes to San Francisco. You know what he said?
Whatever they want.
Wherever you want to play me, I'm all in, baby.
It looks like he will be playing first base against the Red Sox this weekend.
Isn't that a kick in the face?
It's sports.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
That's it.
That's about it for me.
All right. Very good. As always, we appreciate you. You did mention NBA. The ratings, not so good. Joe Dank's going to fill us in on all of that. This portion of the show brought to you by Southern Security. You know all about the #1 credit union in Memphis. If you are maybe not getting the lowest possible rate on your mortgage, I urge you to make this phone call or just go to southernsecurity.org. But you can talk to a person about getting better rates at 901-452-7900. That's the number to Southern Security, where they offer the best rates, flexible terms, no PMI, and, of course, this service that starts with a phone call. You can refinance your current mortgage with the Mid-South's best lender so easily, and as I said, they've been voted #1 the last 6 years. They're a proud supporter of the Tigers and 901 Women. Southern Security is your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. Get your best rate. Go to Southern Security. We get all the latest on the business of sports from our guy Joe Dank in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Stay tuned in. Real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. You know, I think that has been a key, as well as using using the same subcontractors 20-plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and push away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-made is made to care for you every day. These statements accompany our food and food and drug administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Briggs Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Briggs Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With two conveyor lines and the largest match ovens in the Mid-South, Briggs can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Briggs Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Briggs Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or BriggsPowderCoating.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Welcome back in. We're going to talk business of sports with Joe Dank, former TV general manager, 24 and 30, sports producer and director as well. In just a second, he's brought to you by Miramichi. I went to Miramichi on Sunday for Father's Day because that's the place I want to play. I love it. It's so beautiful. Beat me up, though. Beat me up. Well, I started off well and then kind of lost it. But I tell you what, I still enjoyed it because the back nine is so gorgeous. The front nine's pretty too, but the back nine is rolling hills. There's a stream. There's a waterfall. Just sheer beauty and great competition. They play collegiate tournaments there. They play the Bubba there. That's a national junior tournament because it can be tough. It can go back 7,000 yards, or you can move it up like I do, about 6,000 yards, and have a good time. Practice facilities, the best of any public course I have ever seen. Great clubhouse, great food, great people. It's the total golf experience. By the way, Thursday, cheapest day to go, so think about tomorrow. I promise you'll love everything about it. And it's in Woodstock, not Millington. 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. You're going to love everything about Miramichi. Let's talk with our man, Joe Dank, who joins us now from the great city of Chicago, the famous Drake Hotel. You got a great view of Lake Michigan. You probably have the outer drive there if you're the other way, Michigan Avenue. Pretty good place to be.
It's one of the great hotels in one of the great cities, right?
Yeah.
How about that?
Great city. Yeah, great city. Obviously, that's 180 of what Stephen A. Smith said about Memphis.
Oh yeah, he took it on yesterday, and he was pretty interesting. Did you hear him today?
I just heard he did not really back down and called it a bad city or something. What he said today?
I wouldn't say he didn't back down. He tried to provide some broader context. And but he did stand by what he said, I would say.
Yeah. That's why he makes the big money. Because he gets people interested and mad and emotional and everything else.
That's right. Look, we've always said you can be loved or hated, and he's both in equal parts, and that's why he's a huge success.
That's exactly on the money. Has the NBA ratings been a huge success? Last time we talked to you, I think they were down 25%. We talked a little bit about star power, team brand, not exactly a part of this OKC Indianapolis showdown. And so where do they stand as the series competitively? We're going to, important game 6, must win for Indianapolis in Indy. But what are the numbers showing?
Well, the numbers have not been strong. Many people anticipated this. I don't think people anticipated it to be off to the degree that it is. This is the first NBA Finals in history and through 5 games, none of the games have reached 10 million viewers. So, we're setting, new levels of viewership as the consumption of television changes all across the land anyways. But Monday's Game 5 did 9.5 million. That's the best number in the series, but that's 22% behind last year's Game 5, which was Dallas and Boston. So that, again, first time that a Game 5 has ever been under 10 million. The series to date, 5 games averaging 9.18 million viewers per game, and that's minus 19% versus last year. Last year's first 5 averaged 11.3. So, big challenges. But it's part of a broader issue on the consumption of television in general. Homes using television is minus 13% versus a year ago in the country. And that's because there's just such a plethora of alternative viewing sources right now. Because here's an interesting thing. While we can lament the lack of performance of these games, the 5 finals games are the 5 highest viewed TV shows since early May on all of television.
Wow, hold on. There's so much here to try to sort through. So you're telling me a Game 5 in NBA history in the finals has never been under 10 million?
That's right.
Wow, that's significant. But you're also telling me those are the highest television ratings of any program so far this summer, even though they're under 10 million? And
that's right.
You're telling me that Americans now are down 13% total of watching TV. Is that because of streaming? Is that because of Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple TV and Hulu and Peacock and all the streaming? Is that the reason why?
Yes, and yes.
Wow.
There was a statistics this week show that streaming now represents a greater percentage of the television audience than broadcast television and cable combined.
Say that again?
Streaming represents a greater percentage of total TV consumption than broadcast television and cable combined.
Wow. So
it's a complete shift.
Wow. People are now using all their devices. Could be your computer, could be your phone, could be your TV that you have a smart TV and stream with.
Sure.
Over the air or a cable presentation of over the air. They're watching more streaming. That is unbelievable. So that's killing the networks, right? Has to be.
Well, and think about it. It is an on-demand, a la carte world when streaming, with almost a limitless amount of choices for the viewer at any time of any day.
So I don't know if you have this number in front of you, but it just prompts this question. If the best program is getting 10 million or just under it, the NBA, what is the best streamer doing? What is Netflix doing for a hot new series?
But see, that's where this is so interesting, because nothing approaches disaggregated total like 10 million. Netflix, I mean, how many program offerings are there on Netflix? You can be a Netflix subscriber, and you could be watching, I mean, look, Seinfeld's available on Netflix, right?
Right.
There hasn't been a new episode made in over 30 years, but people watch that, and so that counts as streaming. So there are no shows that are streamed that approach these types of numbers. But you take and give the audience, like we say, complete on-demand, a la carte, and that's where all the viewers go. I mean, in the old days, look, when there were 5 network stations, you had to pick one of 5, and people would settle for an NBA game because it was on.
Right. Well,
now you don't have to settle for anything. You can find whatever you want almost whenever you want it.
and we know that they can get a big number for an event because they did that with the NFL on Christmas Day, right? I can't remember
Right,
what
they-
the Netflix number was, but it was good. They had that price.
It was like 24 million. Yep,
24.
24 million,
Okay.
I think, is what it was.
Okay. It's a whole new world out there. So this is not over the air, which probably hurt, but now you're telling me that may not even matter. But what did the TNT ratings do with the Stanley Cup playoffs, which ended in 6 games last night, Florida over Edmonton?
Right, so the 5-game story, because it's too early to know what happened last night, but the 5-game story was minus 34% versus last year's Stanley Cup Finals that was on ABC. Now, those 5 games failed to reach the 3 million mark. They averaged 2.7 million.
Wow. 35% down because, now, is that because of ABC? It's the same 2 teams. Is that because it's just ABC over TNT?
Yes.
Well, that tells you exactly why the NBA said, we love you, TNT. Thank you for being a good partner, but we got to go to 2 over-the-air networks in ABC and NBC. I mean, that
Right.
seems to be simple.
Just as we said, so we talked about the NBA games being way down, but they're still the 5 highest rated TV shows in the month of in May and June, and that's because they are on ABC, and the finals stay on broadcast, and the Stanley Cup alternates year by year. Last year they were on ABC, this year TNT. So now the other thing is, it's not in anybody's favor that there's a Canadian team in, because it takes out one less American city to care about the Stanley Cup. But, hockey's always had a tough go of it, but this is particularly tough right now, under 3 million.
All right. You did a little digging. The Big East announced a new deal. I think it's with Fox, could be NBC, Turner. I mean, it takes in a lot of people. And this is the Big East Basketball League that Memphis could end up being in someday. What are the television dollars? We know they get from the AAC for all sports, $11 million. What's the Big East doling out for their hoops package?
So the Big East begins a new TV deal this year. It's a 6-year deal, so it'll go through 2031. This was a $480 million deal, which averages $7.3 million per year per team. And as you said, it's Fox, which includes FS1, it's NBC, which includes Peacock, and it's TNT, which includes TBS, True, and TNT. But, everybody keeps looking at places for Memphis to land, and everybody continues to talk about how the American is the American, and never in any kind of glowing terms. But as you just said, their share from the American is 11 million. So clearly the American is the best of the rest after the power leagues. Now, the Big East has no football, so we really know how much football drives the TV dollars, because all of those other deals are billion-dollar deals. This is a 6-year, $480 million deal, so not even $500 million.
I guess my next question for you would be, if Memphis were to do that, they'd have to get, just to break even, $4 million for football only from the Pac-12, probably $5 million to pay the extra charter fee that it will cost for the football games, although you're only talking about 4 games a year on the road. But if we take all that into account, can you get that? Do you think the Pac-12 is going to get a media deal that would be for football only $4 to $5 million?
First of all, I don't think so. But second of all, think of this. I mean, this is a deal that's in place for till 2031, okay? It's $7 million per team for 11 teams. If you add a 12th team, you have to come up with another $7 million from those networks, and are any of them going to be inclined? Does Memphis's presence make the deal worth more money to any of those networks? because that's the only way it makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Otherwise, you're not going to take the 480 and divide it by 12.
Right.
That goes under
Right.
where they are right now. So the incentive to a league is, what value do you bring, and is there an existing clause in the television contract that says if we add a team, name any team, what happens to the TV deal?
Do we know
And
if
to your-
is there a clause in that with the Big East? Do we know that at all?
We don't know that,
Okay.
but I would think it unlikely. I mean, I think they like the composition of that league. I mean, there's 11 teams. They all make sense. They're all in big markets. I mean, you think of the markets in the Big East,
Oh yeah.
New York
let's-
City, Washington, D.C.,
Right.
Philadelphia. I mean, come on.
And Memphis is 48. So let's be honest. It was 38 when I got here. It's 48 now. So
Well, it's 50 plus. Yeah, it's
oh,
over
it's
50.
it's over 50 now. Okay, it's
Yeah,
even
it's
worse.
51.
51.
Yep.
Hey. All right. Last thing, real quick. We'll talk about the House implications after Dr. Scott talks on Friday about how Memphis is going to go about doing all of this. So we'll wait
Right.
on that. But I got to ask you about Caitlin Clark. The numbers were down without her in the league 55%, even though they don't really take care of her. I didn't last night again. It's unbelievable. But they played the Liberty, undefeated, defending champions. They beat them on Saturday in the return of Caitlin Clark. What kind of number did we get?
Well, this may or may not shock people. They did 2.2 million viewers on Saturday. That's the third highest-rated WNBA game on ABC ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
Plus 76% over last year. So she's ratings gold. She is ratings gold.
When is the league going to understand she's the ticket? They don't take care of her.
No, they're not taking care of her. They didn't last night. It's an interesting situation. You know, superstars have always kind of been protected, haven't they?
Yes. Michael Jordan did.
And Michael Jordan got protected a lot. So did other people. It's amazing. And if you look, and if you see the highlights of what happened last night in that game, I mean that is not a good look.
No.
For any professional sports league, and it's not one that is going to help the WNBA long term. No. I think they need leadership in the league. I think they have to understand what they have. She has attracted a significant audience to the league that was available to the league but had not come to the league until she got there. And I think it's important to protect. Say again?
It's mind-boggling. They're not protecting her. They're not helping her out, and she's clearly the meal ticket, and they don't want to admit it. It's funny. Joe, as always, we appreciate it. We're going to be off a couple of weeks, but we'll talk to you in July. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
That's our guy on the Business of Sports, Joe Dank. He's brought to you by Dinstall's. 4th of July is coming. Here's the best advice for you. My favorite thing there, although it's very close between strawberries, turtlettes, chocolate covered strawberries are amazing. But here's the thing. When you have Cashew Crunch, it doesn't melt. It's a perfect thing for a 4th of July party. You can take as much Cashew Crunch as you want. It never melts. You've got 5 locations to be the hero of your 4th of July celebration. You can get it where they make it on Pleasant View, my neck of the woods, Laurelwood, in the burbs. You can go to Collierville or Germantown, or you can go downtown, that little quaint store. Dinstall's. 4th of July is coming. Be the hero of the party. Bring Dinstall's. We're back with golf picks. We've got a little different lineup today. We've got Bruno Straka from Audubon filling in for Mickey. We got Paul Reed, the best accent in the business, the former golf pro from around here, filling in for Greg Hines. We do have Dennis Philippi. We do have me. All of that comes next on The Travelers. Stick around.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, and family projects call 469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management will streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW, making things happen. Learn more at cdw.com/service. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. But after looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf, or one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
I love Wednesdays. We make golf picks. And I should give you the lowdown here. Greg Hines had Sam Burns. He was so depressed about the Burns call, lack of relief. He could not come on today. He gets Paul Reed, golf pro extraordinaire from many different places. He's going to come in. Mickey Barker out of town. I don't know why, because he's leading everything with $13.66 million. He'll pick last. That'll be Bruno Straka from Audubon. Johnny Lyon is second best. He's got 12.3. I got 9.3. Greg had 9.1. So it'll be Paul Reed that will lead it off. And I want to lead off with Paul Reed, who I haven't talked to in a couple of years. Welcome back. Last time I think I talked to you, you were headed back home to Scotland. Now you're back here. Did you have J.J. Spawn to win the U.S. Open, Paul? Be honest now.
No, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I did not have J.J. Spawn, and I guess he was like 150 to 1 at the start of the weekend.
Yeah.
What a performance. What a performance. Did not have him.
We'll be watching that 64.5-foot putt forever. That was so darn dramatic. Bruno Straka, always love talking to you. Love talking to you at Audubon, where your golf course is magnificent now. I love the redo. But I got to ask you about the USGA setup. I've heard people complain about it. I actually loved it. What were your thoughts about the U.S. Open test? Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Dave, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it truly identified the best players out there, and I think it was the same for everybody, as it is for all of us when we play. And I thought it was a great test of golf, and the course played great, even though given the wacky conditions. But it was fair for everyone and fantastic.
I should ask you, how do you like the redo that you've seen at your golf course?
Love it. And I love the heat that we're getting this year, and the grass is growing in fantastic. I've heard nothing but positive things from all the players that have played our course, so we couldn't be happier, and we're working super hard to get it in the best condition possible for everybody.
I got to admit, I love the way it is now. There are some magnificent holes on there. 18, that is a true monster of a golf hole and really beautiful. Let me bring in Johnny Lyon. And Johnny, I'd like your thoughts on the U.S. Open and the great play and the memorable moment on 18 by J.J. Spawn.
Yep. Good to see you yesterday at the golf course.
Thank you.
Of course, we got rained out, but yeah, it was a great U.S. Open. That course is a little bit too much for me. I mean, a lot of people may like stressing themselves out playing a very difficult golf course, but 22,000 square foot greens and 6-inch rough is not for most people. But JJ was the man. I mean, he is such a grinder. He overcame so much adversity. You know, one of the biggest things was when he hit the flagstick on a shot and the ball bounced back maybe 60 yards or more.
Right.
It didn't faze him a bit, you know, and Sam Burns totally had a meltdown because he didn't get a free drop, you know. So it's kind of handling the bad situations, the adversity, that always seems to make the difference in a round.
Paul Reed, would you have given relief on that, or did the USGA official, two of them, both said the same thing? What would you have done?
I think everybody could see from TV that there was some serious puddles in that area. I was actually shocked that they wouldn't give him relief. I thought it was relief all day, but I wasn't there to make the judgment call. If that had happened, if I was the pro of the course and being the rules official, I would have given him relief.
I would have too. I said it when it was happening. I thought when he's showing you with a practice showing what's going on, I would have said, now, if anybody deserves relief, it was right there. But he did melt down. He was never the same after that.
No, it was never going to happen after that.
Yeah.
But Spawn, what JJ birdie finish, 17 and 18. I actually thought Bob McIntyre was actually going to win the tournament when he finished at 1 over.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody saw a birdie finish coming from anybody.
You don't have
that was unreal.
You don't have a little bias toward McIntyre, do you?
No, he might be one of Greg Hines' picks this week, but I don't want to give it away too soon.
Well, you've got first pick. So let's talk about the Travelers for just 1 second. You're going from the hardest par 70 golf course ever, maybe, to the easiest one. I mean, Jim Furyk had a 58 there. Cam Young, who's in the field, had a 59. This was Bubba Watson, another lefty who really did well there. Last year, Scheffler won in a playoff over Tom Kim, and he was 22 under. Both of them were. So this is an easy golf course. Bruno, you like that better than the toughness that we saw at Oakmont?
I think it's different. I think it gives an opportunity for all sorts of different players to get in the mix. I think we'll have another week where you know, something in the high teens or mid-20s is going to win the event. So I like my pick. I like it'll bring in a different player in for the win, hopefully. So I think it gives a greater opportunity for a whole bunch of different great golfers to have a chance to win.
Well, the great golfers are here. Because it's a signature event. It's the last one, the 8th one of the year. There is no cut. 70 guys. Most Spawn decided not to play, right? JJ's not in this thing, but everybody else certainly is. And because Greg is at 9.1 million, Paul Reed, you get to go first.
So I'm probably going to go off the radar a little bit here. Phenomenal player. Missed the cut last week at the U.S. Open. And he was actually my pick to win the U.S. Open. I'm going with Ludwig Åberg.
Wow. That is an upset right there, and I can't thank you enough, Paul Reed, because I'm taking Scotty Scheffler. Johnny, who do you like?
Good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say hello, Paul Reed. I hadn't talked to you in a long, long time. And also,
Samurai.
Bruno, I hadn't seen you since the grand opening at Alderman when you were wearing one of our blazers. But I am going to pick Cameron Young.
He shot a 59 there last year. I don't blame you for that. Okay, Bruno, picking for Mickey. He's been very good. The pressure is on you.
I don't want to ruin Mickey. How about Tommy Fleetwood?
Tommy Fleetwood. Not even on the power index. You guys are going deep into this field. So, Paul, who went with Åberg in an upset, what is your second pick?
Okay, so the second pick He's actually there on a sponsor's exemption, I believe.
Wow.
And recently turned professional, but has been amazing. Luke Clanton.
Luke Clanton, the great young player who could still be an amateur, but chose to go pro, and he is terrific. That leaves me with Xander Schauffele. I'm going to take Xander. Johnny.
Okay, let's see. We're going to give a guy that I haven't picked all year, Sam Burns.
I hope he has recovered from the trauma of the U.S. Open. Mickey, I'm sorry, Bruno.
How about another underdog who's been playing some great golf lately, Bud Cauley?
Bud Cauley. You guys, I love this. We're going off the radar here. Okay, Mr. Reed, your last pick.
Okay, and this young golfer had a really good U.S. Open. I think he finished inside the top 20. Ryan Gerard.
Ryan Gerard. Wow. How could you have not taken Robert McIntyre? I'm amazed.
I'm saving him for the Scottish Open next month.
So I'm going to take Robert McIntyre then.
Good pick.
You know, lefties do good here.
Good pick.
All right. Johnny.
Okay, my last pick is going to be everybody's favorite, Rory McIlroy.
Rory, how about this? So we've gone 8 picks. With the 9th pick, it's Rory. Almost an afterthought now. That's amazing to me. Last pick of the day. Go ahead, Bruno.
How about the Iceman, Patrick Cantlay?
Cantlay. Okay. Beautiful. You guys were terrific. Thank you so much. Here's the lineup for Paul, playing for Greg Hines, Ludwig Oberg, Luke Clanton, Ryan Gerard. I've got Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Robert McIntyre. Johnny's got Cam Young, Sam Burns, and Rory. Mickey, through Bruno, has Tommy Fleetwood, Bud Cauley, Patrick Cantlay. Guys, thank you so much. Bruno, I'm going to come see you soon. Paul, I hope I get to see you soon. Johnny, I know I'll see you out at Colonial. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's the picks for the week. I'm off for a few days, but Elijah Seegers and Brian Takis will take you through. I'll see you next Thursday. Have a terrific weekend, everybody. Johnny Radio comes your way in just a minute.